shout out my sisters. We're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Today's our history class. As you know, as of December 20th of this year is the Feast of Dedication. It is to be celebrated for 8 days to commemorate and to remember our forefathers that were fighting for their freedom, showing us that, in this society, in the state of affairs that we're in as Black and Hispanic people, in the turmoil of our nation, that we need to build courage and have faith, more particularly have faith in the Most High, that He will deliver us from our enemies. And so before we get started, we're gonna definitely touch upon Christmas, which is about 2 days away. Another heathen custom that the Lord has forbid you to participate in. We'll definitely touch upon Hanukkah. We'll touch upon some of the deities of Christmas. Got a pretty good article on that one. And with that, if you have any questions online, please, always remember to come with questions when you come to class. So if there's any questions online, let's get that first.
No questions online so far, but give it a minute.
Give it a minute. Let me just pull up some resources.
Because it takes like about 30 seconds from us to them, and then whatever they type in, it'll take another 30 seconds.
No sweat. No sweat. Okay. All right, we're gonna give it another 30 seconds, and we're gonna get it rocking. Okay. Got my notes. Second. Bear with me, y'all. Right. Questions? No questions? All right.
No questions.
Okay, so it's 2019. We're 8 days away from 2020. And around this time of year is when people start making, start thinking about what we call New Year's resolution, right? Things that they want to change in their life, the changes that they want to make in their life, the improvements that they want to make in their life. And time and time again, for many, that moment of thought only lasts till about the first month of the new year. And then you back to the same old crap you've been doing every other year, you know what I mean? And so we got to analyze ourselves and ask ourselves, what is our purpose? You know what I'm saying? For more particularly for, our people, for the Lord's chosen people. You got to sit back and look and say, what am I doing? What's my whole forte in this life? You know what I mean? And as we go back into the book of Maccabees, we realize that the men that were pursuing pursuing their freedom, and trying to take the chains of their captors and the shackles off, there's one thing that they knew. They knew that when it came to the laws of the Most High, this is something that they were willing to die for. You know what I mean? And so we got to analyze ourselves and ask ourselves, what is our duty? You know what I mean? As a man, you should always ask yourself, what your purpose is. Am I here to protect? Am I here to live it up? And as Israelites, when it came to the law, and when it came to our temple, this is something that we held in high regards. You know what I'm saying? This is something that we held sacred. But if you can get me the duty of man, Rob, let's start with that real quick. I believe it's in Ecclesiastes 12 and 13.
Come on, come. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
In Ecclesiastes it says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. We've gone through our life with the philosophies of our oppressor. We've gone our whole life with the doctrines of devils. You know what I mean? The fact that you're erecting a tree in your house, many don't find that strange. Many don't research and say, where does that custom come from? You know what I'm saying? Is this an ancient custom? Is this something that is fairly new? Where does it come from? And so what we have to do is we have to analyze our conduct and our lifestyle and what we've propitiated in our mind as to what is good and what is evil. And to many, this time of year, you know what I mean? It's a good thing to give people gifts, right? It feels good, right? It's a good thing to, for family to come home for the holidays, right? It's something that, we have to tell ourselves that, the scriptures talk about leaning upon your own understanding. So in your mind, you think it's a good thing to, and acceptable that, children should get gifts this time of year. And, in this time of year, people are very trusting. And it's a time of year where, you kind of put your guard down. You know what I mean? And there's a spirit of Christmas that is engulfed in all of us growing up. You know what I mean? It's pushed and it's commercialized through every sector of society. You know what I mean? From Christmas cards to Christmas trees to, you know what I mean? And so what we got to understand is that, is this something that our forefathers did? You know what I'm saying? Is this or is this a religious rite that has been indoctrinated in us for the last, 2,000 years, or the last couple thousand years? And where did it come from? So we have to come to the conclusion of the whole matter. Like, why I'm bringing all this up is because we're geared to, what's the word I want to use? We're geared to conform to the world. And hold that right there and give me Slaki. We're gonna hold these two scriptures back to back. Slaki, bear with me, bro. Give me Slaki. Bear with me, y'all. Let me just pull this up. Give me Matthew Give me the if you're of the world.
Give you what?
Salaki, let me just pull it up. Give me John. Start at verse. Hold Ecclesiastes. Give me John. Start at verse 5.
John what?
Give me 1 second. Give me John. Start at verse 17. John 17. Start at verse 14. Slaki, let me just double check that. Give me if you love the world, the love of the Father is not in you. If you love the world, the love of the Father is not in you. Give me that real quick. Pull that up for me real quick. You got it?
I got the wrong one. I got John 15:19. Hold on.
Give me that real quick. Yep.
Okay, 1 John.
Yep.
Chapter 2, verse 15.
Hit me that. Give me that.
Love not the world.
So in 1 John 2:15 it says, love not the world. Now, what does that mean? Understand that the world is, the world is the society of people that are doing everything that goes against the Most High. You know what I mean? Which is why the world, there's no friction between a man in the world and the things that are in the world. Keep reading.
Love not the world,
God.
neither the things that are in the world.
And Christmas is something that's in the world. You know what I mean? The world is in opposition to the Most High, and the things the traditions that we've kept since a youngin, is not of the Father, but is of the world. You know what I mean? And what you end up doing, because you have, because you can't discern between good and evil, what you end up doing is worshiping the God of your children. You know what I mean? You end up compromising, worshiping the God of your wife, and you end up compromising. And so the Lord says this. Read it one more time.
Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world.
And the things that are in the world is the lust thereof. You know what I mean? It's the idea that, a gift, giving someone a gift in their mind is love. Giving someone a gift in their mind is friendship. And a lot of children have been bamboozled by this idea that my parents love me because they've given me a gift. And what ends up happening, because you've trained them up in the fashion of the world and the philosophies of our so-called oppressor, and you've trained them to grow up with the religion of our oppressor, more specifically Christianity. You train them to grow up with the holidays that doesn't adhere to anything in the scriptures. Now they become plugged into the world. And what the Most High has done to the men in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge is that He's unplugged us from the world. You know what I'm saying? And keep reading.
If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
So you can't love Christmas and say you love the Most High. It doesn't work. You can't you can't smack turkey in your mouth on Thanksgiving and say you love the Most High. You know what I mean? None of these holidays are found in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? They're very paganized, and because of Christianity, more specifically, a brief history. During the time of Constantine, a lot of people don't understand that Constantine was a black man, and during the time, he was an Israelite actually, and during that time, Constantine, who was the emperor of Rome, he started to bring in, he was the first one that actually made Christianity the religion of Rome, of the Roman Empire. And so what he did was he allowed pagan practices to come and be infused into Christianity, which is why you'll see a piece of every different pagan traditions within Christmas, especially when Christianity started to spread in Northern Europe with the Germanic tribes, the Vikings and the Saxons. This is where you get the Yule log, and you start to see the whole thing with the fireplace, and you start to see all these traditions that the Germanic people were practicing. You start to see it infused into Christianity. And so now what this scripture is saying is that everything of the world is not of the Most High, is really what it's saying. And all these pagan practices are implemented in every Israelite household, except for the men that stand for the Lord, except for the men that have been pulled out of the world. You know what I'm saying? Can you read any more on that?
Oh, that's it on that, sir.
What's the next one say?
Huh?
What's the next one say?
The next scripture?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father.
And the reason why we celebrate these holidays, these American holidays, is because we envy our oppressor. You know what I mean? It's because Zion has been destroyed. Jerusalem, the people have been destroyed. And so we don't have anything that we can attach ourselves to in regards to our own, you know what I mean? In reference to our own identity, in reference to our own culture. So we feel like we have to attach ourselves to our oppressor. And this right here comes from a long line of nations that have destroyed us time and time under every captivity. And they knew that if we could take away their culture and their language and say that the nation of Israel is no more, then they know that, see, how do I explain this? The other nations know, and I'm not talking about the peons in these nations, but those that are in higher up, they know who we are as a people. And they know once we start worshiping and once we start keeping the laws of our power, of the Most High, they know that no one can come up against us. You know what I mean? Anyone on that?
But is of the world.
You know, and so all this that you're seeing is of the world. You know what I mean? Time and time again, every year we bring this out, and around this time of year, we're on the corners of America, of every corner in America, trying to raise our people out of the dead. You know what I mean? Spiritually, we are the walking dead. You know what I mean? And so we have to, you need men that are courageous. You need men that are willing to fight. And the problem is that so many devices have been used against Black and Hispanic people that took the fight out of them. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. Smoking weed, right? That takes the fight out of you, right? Creating, our oppressor, creating a dragon in that house who you call your wife, who's probably who's probably sleeping with your best friend or your brother or whoever. That dragon right there is working side to side with your oppressor. he believes in him, because she is looking at the lust thereof. Your wife is looking at his power and his money and his strength and his military might. She's looking at that and says, he's the one I should listen to. In the meantime, you on the couch struggling to get a job, and you playing what she hates the most, Call of Duty, NBA 2K. You know what I mean? You playing what she hates the most. And she doesn't see any power in you because of what? Because you're weak. You're smoking weed all day, right? You're chasing silly, laden women. You're doing evil in the sight of the Lord. So there's no, so you haven't acquired any strength or any courage to do anything for your people. You know what I mean? But go back to Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13.
Go ahead.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
And so now let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Let us hear why we've lost our strength, why we don't have any courage, because we're not following our duties that was set in place by the Most High. Let us hear why we're destroyed in the barrios of Mexico, in the slums of Haiti, in the ghettos of America, because there's a power that gave us laws and made a covenant with our forefathers, that agreement that they've made with blood has to be fulfilled. It has to. You can't void that contract. You know what I mean? That contract is set in stone. So let us hear the whole conclusion of the matter. Go ahead.
Fear God.
And see, now that's the whole conclusion of the matter. It's to fear the Most High. And here's the problem. Because you don't fear the Most High, because you are worshiping idols, because you're running around in a Santa outfit, in a Santa hat, because you're lying to your kids about Santa and lying to your kids about this wicked holiday, because of that, go ahead.
And keep his commandments.
And because you're not keeping his commandments, this is why you're destroyed in this place. You know what I mean? This is why you're destroyed in this place. And you brought up something heavy last week when you talked about reproveth not a scorner.
God.
You know what I mean? You scorn us for what we bring out when we tell you that you shouldn't, prance around and in a homosexual lifestyle. You shouldn't eat unlawful food that the Most High told you not to eat. You shouldn't erect an idol or a Christmas tree in your house that has nothing to do with the Most High. See, the Lord is the scriptures say the Lord is angry with the wicked every day. You know what I mean? And guess what they're going to do this time of year during Christmas?
Everything evil under the sun.
Everything evil under the sun. And guess who? And guess what they're going to do during Christmas dinner?
Pray.
They're going to hold hands and they're going to pray, right? They're going to hold hands and they're going to pray for the abomination that's sitting on the table. When the Lord told you not to touch a swine's flesh, right? And what do? You got a big boar head on what? In the middle of the table somewhere, right?
Come.
So that's the conclusion of the whole matter. We need to understand that this week should be a week that Black and Hispanic people, they should be celebrating Hanukkah. They should be celebrating the courageous acts that our forefathers have put in place during the time of their captivity, during the time when the Greeks were trying to take the laws away, the laws of our forefathers away from us, when they profaned our altars and they profaned our temple and they, caused us to commit vile acts. And what we need to understand from this is that there was men that were willing to stand up and die for these laws. You know what I'm saying? We tell your symbol behind it, to keep the dietary laws. What are you going to do on 4th of July? You're going to have some, pork back. you're gonna have some baby back ribs slapped on that, on that grill. You know what I mean? But you talking about, we get into a story in Maccabees chapter 7 where it talks about a mother and her 7 sons that died because they didn't want to eat the swine that the king commanded them to eat. Right? Right? And that's how serious it is. You know what I mean? This is not this is not a game. Like, men and women have died during this time because they wouldn't eat swine's flesh. They died and were thrown into coliseums and were eaten by lions because they would not dishonor. They would not leave this planet dishonorable. You know what I'm saying? Because they would not compromise and because they would not give up their integrity. You know what I mean? Let's go into the deities of Christmas. Just pull this up real quick. Let me tell you the gods that you are really worshiping during this time of year. Let's get that first. Give me www.humanreligions. Right? .info/Christmas. Give me that real quick. Let's pop that open real quick. If you don't mind.
Put on human religions. No, I probably spelled religion wrong.
.info.
Spell it out.
Which one?
Human religions.
HUMANRELIGIONS.
.info.
Yeah.
/Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 404 now found.
Say it again. Let me see if I can. Okay, it's type in paganism, sun worship, and commercialism.
Type in paganism.
Yep. Sun worship and commercialism.
And what?
Commercialism. Yeah. Give me that real quick. Got it?
I think this is it, yeah. Oh, there's a .html at the end.
Yeah.
That's important to give me.
Okay. You got it?
I got it. What section do you want?
Go to where it says, I just want to touch upon Constantine and how he infused all these. Go to where it says many scholars have pointed out how sun worshiping. So it's in the section of let me get it. Let's see if I can find it. 1.2 maybe? Yeah, go to 1.2.
1.2.
Where it says sun worship.
They start off where?
Let me look at it real quick. You start off from the top.
Count out on one time. So I can bear with me for a sec.
Go ahead.
Sun worship. sun worship formed the basis of Mithraism, Zoroastrianism, other Roman religions, and many other pagan traditions.
What you got to understand is that on December 25th, and every Sunday in America, Christians are worshiping the sun god, right? And the sun god has been elevated in the Roman Empire and in Roman society as the highest form of God at one point, when Christianity started to really be populated in Rome. So Mithraism it says it's a Roman mystery religion that believed that the Son of the Sun was a savior who was sacrificed for the good of all, right? So what is it saying when it says the Son of the Sun? So
who, offspring of the Sun.
So who is the offspring of the Sun in this sense, when it comes to Christianity?
When it comes to Christianity, it's Caesar Borgia.
His son Caesar Borgia, or who the world would call who?
The world would call him Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, right? Now, in Irish religious rites, right? What do they have behind them? And in many churches, you'll see it. What do they have behind them?
They call it a halo, but it's really a sun.
Yes. So they put the sun right behind his image, right? So the Son of Sons, which is this was a Roman mystery religion, right? Which is why when you think about Christmas, what does Christmas stand for? Just the word Christmas, or Christ, it stands for the mass of Christ, right?
Christ, yeah.
Mass of Christ. But it's really a sun worship that's going on, and it goes on in every church, which is why they go to church on what day?
Sunday.
Now, when you think about the days of the week, what do those days of the week represent?
All the days of the week represent some type of Roman god.
It represents some type of Roman god. Now keep reading.
Count out of one count. It is a reason Sunday is the holy day in many religions.
Go ahead.
And why major festivals are held at spring and at the solstices.
What would be a major festival today that's held in the springtime? Easter would be a major. And what does Easter represent in the Christian world?
The death of Christ.
It represents who? The resurrection
of Christ. The Father's death. Okay.
Yeah, so it represents the resurrection of Christ, right? Really, it really doesn't represent that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's still the worship of the Son. You gotta understand. This whole month you've read Jeremiah, right? Chapter 10, right?
Okay.
Following the customs of the heathens, right? What else does it say in Jeremiah chapter 10?
To not be amazed at the stars.
The heathens are dismayed. Right? At the what?
The stars.
At the stars, right? See, a lot of, in ancient societies, the stars and the sun and the moon were things that people worshipped. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Until this day, they still worship that. Is it under? I wouldn't say it's under zodiac, but what is it under? Horoscopes, right?
Yeah.
People, and that in itself has become a religion. You know what I mean?
Frightening, yes, I do.
But keep reading.
The real meaning of Christmas is sun worship.
That's the real meaning of Christmas. You know what I mean? The real meaning of Christmas is sun worship. It has nothing to do with Christ, nor does it have anything to do with Christ's birth precept.
So what again?
Precept when it comes to birthdays. Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes. I'm gonna give it to you.
You have to give it to me, sir.
Ecclesiastes 7:1. Give me that real quick. You know what I'm saying? See, the lie that Christmas has to do with Christ's birthday has been an ongoing argument. amongst the different sects of Christianity. And what we got to realize is that in the scriptures, it doesn't determine when Christ was born, nor did the Israelites ever celebrate birthdays. But give me Ecclesiastes 7:1.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 1.
Go ahead.
A good name is better than precious ointment.
It says a what?
A good name is better than precious ointment.
Keep reading.
And the day of death than the day of one's birth.
It says the day of death is better than the day of one's birth. Let me tell you something, right? We're like little children. When our birthdays come around, right, we become the biggest babies, right? Listen, when your birthday comes around is the time that you determine who, what, loves you and who doesn't love you. Who's your friend and who's not your friend, right? The ones that give you a what? A gift or what? Are the ones that what?
Love you.
That care about you, that love you, right? Go ahead.
Salaki, sir. The correlation of a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. Is that a correlation, or did they just join 2 points into one?
I think what they did was they joined 2 points.
Okay.
A good name is better than the precious ointment, right?
Come.
In actuality, when you think about a good name, right? To me, Mattathias in the Maccabees was a good name, right? Judas, his sons, those were good names, right? Who else? The mother and her 7 children, those were good names. You know why they were good names? It's because they stood up for something. And here's your problem, is that you don't stand for nothing. And any man that doesn't stand for something, he doesn't stand for anything. You know what I mean? And they stood up for something. They maintained their integrity. And that's what it's all about. It's all about your honor and your integrity. It's all about a good name. You know what I mean? When I hear Officer Rakar Ariyah, I hear a good name. I hear a man that stood up against the pressures of Christmas. A man that has to go home, you know, to his wife or to his kids, and he has to battle the Christianity out of their mind. You know what I mean? I hear a man that's standing up for something, and that's trying to save a nation. You know what I'm saying? From the Most High destroying them, from their immoral practices, right? When I hear of Commander General Yohana, I hear of a man that's a good name that I hear. A man that has stood and maintained his integrity for the last 35 years. General Muhammad, all the generals, the captains, the officers, the sisters, and their kids that don't stand up for the national anthem in school. Imagine that. You don't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance in school. You don't even recite, as a 7-year-old, you don't even recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right.
That is a brother that is on his way to maintaining, to creating himself a good name, right? But just to get on point, get on topic, the day of one's death is better than what?
Than the day of one's birth.
And that's in the Bible. Now, the same Bible that you proclaim that you believe in, how come Christians don't read that? Why are they celebrating the birth of Christ, right? Why are they celebrating the birth of Christ? You know why? It's because they truly don't believe in Christ. You know what I'm saying? Christians say Christ is a God, right? He's the Most High, right? The problem is that they truly don't believe in Christ. What they're truly worshiping is Baal. They're worshiping the sun god. And this has been done from time and time again. The only thing that society has done is put a facelift on these different gods that we worship. Everything about America is associated with some sort of god. You know what show I was watching? They kind of messed it up for me. They didn't really do the show the way I wanted them to do it.
Watch me.
I like that too. Actually, there's a new show called The Witchers. I'm all over that. They're telling me it's better than Game of Thrones. That's what they're telling me. So I'm all over that. That's a side note. But everything about America, about what the Bible calls the daughter of Babylon, is the worship of a god. I'll give you an example, right? The apple, right? What does the apple represent? It's a fruit. What does it represent?
What does the apple represent?
In the form of a deity or a god. Do you know the name?
Aphrodite.
No.
I'm lost.
Pomona.
Pomona.
Pomona. Now, why are why are Christmas trees decked with red balls around it, all over it?
For the apple.
Because what they used to do is they used to put apples, you know, when they would carve out the tree and put it in their crib, they used to put apples on them prior to them just putting the, you know, red and silver balls on it. It used to be an apple, you know what I mean? Because you got to remember, a lot of the reason why during ancient society they were worshiping these different deities is because it was all about agriculture. And a lot of these gods associated with agriculture, because at that time, when winter would come, winters were what? You know what I'm saying?
Desolate.
Winters were desolate. Some people starved. And so now they would have these celebrations because it was like the sun is getting closer. You know what I'm saying? After you finish the time of harvest, then comes the winter months. Now you want to find a god that you can pray to, so you can survive throughout the winter. So, for instance, what companies use Apple? I just said it. Apple computers, right? Right? What's another one? The Big Apple. New York, right? What you'll start to see is the more you look around, you'll start to see these symbolisms, right? What's another one? Starbucks. What do they use?
Some type of mermaid.
What's that woman? She's an actual god.
Yeah, some type
right?
of mermaid. Yeah.
She is an actual god. What about Christmas?
You said what about what?
What about Christmas? What about Santa Claus? I'm just giving you
Christmas
examples.
got a bunch of gods involved.
And what about Santa Claus? Santa Claus got a bunch of gods.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? From Thor to the gods of the Germanic tribes when it came to Yule, right? But keep reading. Let's so we can jump out of here.
It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go.
No, I'm sorry, Salaki. Go back to sun worship.
Oh, Khan, I don't want Khan.
Go ahead.
The real meaning of Christmas is sun worship, a reminder to all life on earth that we owe everything to the sun.
Go ahead.
Sun worship is one of the main pillars of all religion.
Why is it one of the main pillars of all religion? Because when winter comes around, right, who do you want to pray to and worship to come back around?
The sun.
The sun. Why? Because the sun represents what? Life, right? It represents crops growing. It represents, so that's why when the springtime comes around, that's really the beginning of the new year, is when things start to come back to life. Flowers start to grow, crops start to grow, right? That's why all religions worship the sun, right? There's places in the world where they don't see any sun for 6 months. Peace, brother.
Peace, brother.
They don't see any sun for 6 months. That's a scary thought. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So like the sun plays an important factor in all religions and in all societies, right? For all farmers, right? And these are religions that farmers took to you know what I'm saying? They went beyond this, you know what I mean? To the point where they were doing sacrifices and child sacrifices and all manners of evil. Go ahead.
Khan, I don't want Khan. Sun worship of Salakia, especially older religions. Sun worshippers and nature religions.
And that's and that's another one. Nature religions. A lot of these holidays represent nature religions, and they're very ancient. They've been around since the days of Babylon. But go ahead.
Held major celebrations at the winter solstice the victory of the strength of the sun.
And that was the battle. The sun represented what? Good, right? What represented evil?
Cold darkness.
Nighttime, the moon, right? Go ahead.
Over the forces of darkness that try to suppress it.
Go ahead.
Osiris, Dionysus, represented and was represented by the sun.
Yeah, the Osiris was, I think, an Egyptian god. Go ahead. Keep reading.
As was Jesus,
Go ahead.
whom the church father Clement of Alexander calls the Son of Righteousness.
See how he named it? The Son of Righteousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the Son is the Most High, right? That's how they're trying to represent it, right? And Christ is the Son of Righteousness. Go ahead.
When old relics and religious symbols, such as human faces, are given a light backdrop.
What's a backdrop?
Rays,
What's a backdrop? It's the thing behind the image, right? Go ahead.
Are given a light backdrop of rays of light or corolla, it means they represent the sun.
You know what's funny? What you'll start to see in a lot of, like, especially during the time of the Renaissance, you'll start to see a lot of images and you'll start to see a lot of art, right? And when they represented like a pope or some sort of religious, saint or whatever, they would always show some ray of light or the sun behind them, right? Keep reading. We're going to get through this and then we're going to jump to Maccabees real quick.
Sir James Fraser says the largest pagan religious cult which fostered the celebration of December 25th as a holiday was the pagan sun worship Mithraism. Mithraism.
Yep, go ahead.
This winter festival was called the Nativity of the Sun.
And keep in mind it was also called Saturnalia, which was another winter festival that they had as well. But go ahead.
Franz Cumont, perhaps the greatest scholar of Mithraism, wrote, quoting Meniscus Felix, the Mithraists also observed the Sunday and kept
reserved Sunday, right? Go ahead.
And kept sacred the 25th of December as the birthday of the sun.
And that's what you really celebrating. You think you're celebrating the birthday of Christ. You're really celebrating an old, ancient mystery religion of the Romans, which is the birthday of the sun. Hate to bust your bubbles, Christians. Hate to bust your bubbles. Whoever is celebrating Christmas at this time, understand that you're doing it in vain. You know what I mean? When you go home today and you look at that Christmas tree, you should ask yourself, am I in a cult? Like, why did I go out into the woods? Cut a tree out of the woods. The tree belongs in the woods. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. There could have been squirrels that could have been nesting in there, birds that could have been nesting in there. But you go and take a palm tree away from the animals, and you're not even using it for firewood. You're not using it for anything but to worship a God that you are very unfamiliar with. You know what I mean? You could have just left it in the, you know what I'm saying? And here's the worst part, right? The people that care about nature, they care about the animals and the trees, they have Christmas trees in the house.
No, they don't argue it at all.
Right? Okay, but I'm just saying. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Count out on one. That's laughing. Many scholars have pointed out how the sun worship Mithraeus, the sun worshiping Manichaean, and the Christians were all syncretized.
Let me look up that word syncretized, because I don't want to. I want to be on point with it. I want to make sure it's spelled right first and foremost. Syncretized is an attempt to amalgamate or reconcile religious beliefs, cultural elements, or schools of thoughts. And this is what Constantine was trying to do. He was trying to amalgamate all these pagan religions into and absorb it into Christianity, so he can get people to come into this Christian sect. You know what I'm saying? To get people to come and worship the national religion of Rome, right? And so Rome was comprised of many. You gotta understand, Rome was like America, right? In America, there's people that worship Buddha. There's people that worship that are Muslims, and there's all kinds of religions in America, right? Rome was the same way. So what he was doing was, imagine me, right, going in. I'm like, okay, you're a Buddhist, you're a Muslim, you're this and that and third. You can bring all that in here, right? And then let's just amalgamate it and absorb it into the sun worship. Absorb it into. That's why with the so-called Irish, they got the what? What is it called? 3-leaf clover?
4-leaf.
Some people say 4. It really, you know why I say 3-leaf? It's because the reason why they've termed it the 3-leaf is because what they did was they took that. Clover was used for what? Lambs, right? Right? To feed lambs, right? It's something that was very, yeah, right? But the reason why I say 3-leaf, some people say 4, but the reason why I say 3-leaf is because the Christian church took it, Christianity took it and made it the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Trinity. That's why I say 3. What do the Celtics have?
Huh?
What do the Celtics have?
3-leaf clover. That's
why I say 3. Because that 3-leaf clover that's on the Celtics emblem represents the Father, the Son, and the When in actuality, they worship the 3-leaf clover because this is what fed their lambs. You know what I'm saying? Because lambs love what? Clover. They love clovers. They love it. You know what I mean? So everything had a lot to do with agriculture and herds and farming. A lot of that had a lot to do with the religions that we worship today. Well, go ahead.
Khan, I don't want and reconciled when Constantine led the takeover by Christianity.
And that's how Constantine led the takeover. Constantine realized that, okay, there's a lot of paganism around me. What's the best way to control people? Through religion, right? So in order for him to maintain power and to get the support of the people, he had to somehow compromise and allow them to bring their paganism into Christianity. And this is what's been going on from time to time. Keep reading. This is actually pretty good.
However, the sun worshiping groups were included too.
And the sun worshiping groups were included too. Go ahead.
Were included too because of the general importance of popularity of Sol Invictus.
So Sol Invictus, there was 3 major holidays in ancient Rome. Saturnalia was one of them, which is the worship of Saturn, right? Dies Natalis of the Christ was another one around the time of Constantine, right? And Dies Natalis Sol Invictus was the birthday of the sun, which we just read. So those are the 3 major or main holidays in Rome at the time. Go ahead.
The invincible sun deity, Mario Righetti, a renowned Catholic liturgist, writes, the Church of Rome, to facilitate the acceptance of the faith by the pagan masses.
And listen, the pagan masses came by the storm. You know what I mean? Like, because, you know, the emperor was willing to accept their God, right? This is how Constantine became very popular. This is how Christianity became very popular, because Christianity is Catholicism. Let me make this more clear. Catholicism is universal. What does universal mean?
Covers the whole ground.
It covers everything. You know what I'm saying? Why do we call ourselves the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge?
Because cover the whole ground of practical knowledge.
That's right. We cover all. We cover it all. But go ahead.
Kind, I don't want kind. Found it convenient to institute the 25th December as the feast of the temporal birth of Christ.
And so now, let me give you an example, right? The Church of Rome, this was around 356 AD under Pope Julius I, right? Who officially declared December 25th to be the mark of the birth of Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? This was the Pope that officially declared it on December 25th. Keep reading.
Salaki, sir.
Yep.
There's a word in there that I'm not quite understanding. Temporal.
Temporal, it meaning temporary. Temporal is like, look it up. It's
I got it keyed up as an adjective, which Salakia. Bear with me.
So there's two definitions. So one of them is relating to time, right? Like if temporal is like you ever heard the term temporary, right? Temporal is related to time. This might be the first one, which says relating to worldly as opposed to spiritual affairs or secular.
I got it in the Merriam-Webster.
What does it say?
It says definition of temporal adjective, entry 1 of 3.
Yep.
Of or relate 1A, of or relating to time.
Yep.
As opposed to eternity.
Go ahead.
B, of or related to earthly life. C, lay or secular rather than clerical or sacred. 2, of or relating to grammatical tense or distinction of time. 3, of or relating to time as distinguished from space. Of or relating to the sequence of time or to a particular time, chronological.
So which one is it?
That was as an adjective, but
that was the adjective.
As a noun.
So it says as the feast of the temporal birth of Christ. I got a hang up on that because there's quite a few definitions. What I know for temporal, meaning it for me it was relating to time, right? Meaning the when we say time, we're talking about December 25th. That's how I'm relating it. But I'm not gonna indulge on this particular one because I don't know exactly what the meaning is. But for me, to my understanding, when it says the temporal birth of Christ, it's relating to December 25th, the time that his birth was.
Salaki.
Good.
Because the third definition the third definition of that word tells you that there's a difference between secular temporal and the conventional temporal. Go ahead.
What's the difference? Does it say?
Let me read the third definition again.
Does it give you an example?
It doesn't give an example, but Salakia. It's actually wasn't the second. It was the 1C. Lay or secular rather than clerical or sacred.
So it has nothing to do with.
It had nothing to do with Christ.
Like it's not accurate. It's not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. It might be that I don't know how the author is presenting it because there's multiple definitions. It's not coming from the scriptures, so I don't have a precept to go and back that up. You know what I mean? But go ahead.
To divert them from the pagan feast.
And that's why I said it was temporal. It was something to kind of lure them in. You know what I mean? Lure them in so it could divert them from their pagan feast. But go ahead.
Celebrated on the same day in honor of the invincible sun.
Go ahead.
Salaka, sir.
You already know.
So they are using Christ to celebrate what they just said it, to celebrate the invincible sun. So it doesn't cancel out paganism.
No, it doesn't. But it's a way to conform it. It's a way to adjoin the two. It's a slick way. Constantine, keep in mind, when it came to the Council of Nicaea, them men sat in a round table and they thought this out. Because what was it all about? It's all about maintaining power. And if the people are not with you, guess what? The people what? Revolt. They rebel. Then you have a coup d'etat, because the king is not accommodating my God. So now I don't want this king. You know what I mean?
Time out of one come.
But go ahead.
Mithras, the mixing of pagan sun worship and Christianity, is exemplified by the testimony of the Syrian Scholias on Bar Silidi,
I'm not sure what that means, but go ahead.
who said it was a custom of the heathen.
Whoa. What did Jeremiah 10 to say?
Don't follow the custom of heathen.
He says, do not follow the customs of the heathen. He's saying it was the customs of the what? What did he call them?
Custom of the heathen.
Whoever the Syrian scholar is, who was a heathen, I believe. I gotta verify. You can't say that because there'd be some Israelites that consider themselves Syrians. But he said the customs of the heathen, what?
To celebrate on the same 25th of December, the birthday of the sun.
And that's what it's all about, man. Come on, man. I mean, I hate to be the spoiler of your also loving, false loving holiday. Where everyone, listen, you know what the saddest thing was? You know, I was giving my mother a ride yesterday, right? And my Creole is not the best. You know what I mean? If my Creole was on point, I would have all of Haiti in the school. You know what I mean? Because my Creole lacks, and so every once what I did was I put her on to my main man, Officer Yatazak, right? I put her on to her video. She's like, oh, I like him. I like the way he talks. He talks very well. See, Haitians, right? Levites, they only respect you when you talk that talk. Like, if you could talk.
But that talk's not their talk.
No, I'm just saying, if you can talk that talk, if you can speak eloquent in the language, they'll listen, right? Mine is real broken. I'm very Yankee-ish, Americanized, right, when it comes to it. So, yesterday, I gave her a ride, right? You know, normally, Friend Elise goes and gets her hair done through my sister.
Yeah.
So I went to go pick him up, give him a ride. She started saying, well, when you die, you're not coming back. You know, that's it. You know, you're done, right? And that's all Catholic dogma. She's like, oh, you're gonna go into hell, blah blah blah, this, that, and the third. So I had to break it down. And you know what I told her? If I may sidetrack, because I know I never have enough time. Salakia, help me, Israel. I'm working on this. I just get too excited about certain topics. I might go a little longer than usual. But give me, give me when Christ gives the parable about the master that goes away and leaves his servants in charge.
I'm not here.
Oh, Rock, you did. Hold on.
Whatever you about to say, we know it ain't true.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm not here
Rock,
to
you
do
done.
nothing. My mind goes blank every 10 seconds. I might have heard it. Like today, you reminded me of a scripture today that I haven't heard in a couple of years.
Give me, give me when the steward, when it talks about, and he sent his son, and they killed his son. You know what I'm talking about?
This is old or new?
This is New Testament. I want to get it. Mark 1:26. Mark 12. I'm sorry, and it started verse. Start at the first verse. We only got about 10
Mark
minutes.
12 and what?
Start at the first one.
Mark 12 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
And he began to speak unto them by parables.
Okay.
A certain man planted a vineyard and set a hedge about
What's
it.
a hedge?
It's like a planted gate.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And digged a place for the wine fat,
Go ahead.
and built a tower, and let it out to husbandmen.
The husbandmen are what? Like the farmers, the people that take care of the whatever. But go ahead.
And went into a far country.
So when I was having a talk with my mom, right? I said, "Yo," she's like, "It's been too long. We don't even know if Christ is coming back." Right? You know what I mean? Like,
Slocky. That whole thing just throws Christianity out the window, because if you don't believe Christ is coming back and you don't know if Christ is coming back, then what are you doing?
exactly. That's what I was trying to get to. She's like, "You don't even know if he's coming back," because in Haiti, 90% of Haitians are Catholics. So the Catholic dogma that is implemented in their minds, that's what they grow up with. So she's like, "We don't even know if he's coming back." And I'm saying, meaning it's been too long. So I told her, I said, so does that mean you just do whatever you want? It's a free for all, just live it up, because you don't know if he's coming back, right? So keep reading. Read that last part one more time on that last verse, the first one. And let it out, and went into a far country.
And built a tower and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country.
Go ahead.
And at the season he sent to the husbandman a servant, that he might receive from the husbandman of the fruit of the vineyard.
Go ahead.
And they caught him and beat him and sent him away empty.
And this is what they do to the men of the UPK. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Lord has built a vineyard for us, right? And what did he say? He said the harvest is what? Plenty, right? But the what? The laborers are what? Are few, right? The men that are in the UPK are the laborers that are few, right? You go into different cities, how many brothers you gonna see? You gonna see 1,000 members? You're not gonna see 1,000 members. You might see 10 here, 5 here, 20 here. That, you know what I mean?
2, 3 here.
Yeah, 2, 3 here. That's what you'll see. The laborers are few. Keep reading. So these men, when they came to receive from the husbandmen that are supposed to be taking care of this vineyard, right? What did they do? They beat them and what?
And sent him away empty.
And sent them away empty. Right? Keep going.
And again he sent unto them another servant.
So he goes, he sends another servant. Go ahead.
And at him they cast stones and wounded him in the head.
In Revelations, it talks about you'll be tormented for how many months? 5 months. What does that mean? Do we work on time? We don't work on time. Here's what 5 months mean. It's, for a little while, you're going to be tormented, right? While you're going out there and you trying to tell your family members you shouldn't celebrate Christmas. You know why? Because you worshiping the sun god. And what do? They beat you, right? They send you away empty, right? As you're going to plant seeds and doing this, what are they doing? They're snitching on you. They're trying to get you fired, right? Which is why you should never go into the workplace and start and set up camp.
Set up camp in the workplace.
Wait till you got lunch hour or something. You know what I mean? But go ahead.
Count out of one kind. And again, Salakia casted stones and wounded him in the head and sent him away shamefully handled.
Go ahead.
And again he sent another, and him they killed, and many others, beating some and killing some.
He said, you're not of the world. You know why? Because the world hates you.
The world hates us.
Listen, they hate the fact when you bring up the when you bring up Christmas, that you shouldn't celebrate Christmas. You shouldn't celebrate the customs of the heathens. You know what they do? They hate you. They want to kill you. They don't want you to come into. Listen, you come amongst the midst of family. They don't want you to come around because they know what you're gonna do. You're gonna spoil. You know what I'm saying? The lust thereof that they're trying to conceive. But go ahead.
Slugger, man, I bring in a precept.
Yeah,
not sure if it fits, but it might
get to the
fit.
precept. Yeah, we only got 4 minutes.
1 John 3:1. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. What I'm saying by that is, by the simple fact is that the world don't know the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Like the verse you brought out before. You know what I'm saying? It didn't hold on. Like in 1 John. What verse were we in 1 John?
2 and 15.
Like 2 and 15, right? It said, love not the world, right?
Yep.
You can't love the world because the world don't know the Most High. So how's it going to know us? How's it going to know who we are? That's why it treats us the way we are.
That's right.
The higher-ups know who we are.
That's right.
But these little minions and these little peons, they don't know who we are.
They don't know who we are. You're right.
So it turns to a fact, it got so bad that we don't even know who we are.
That's right.
And now we're celebrating their festivals.
That's right.
We're celebrating their holidays.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And we're getting killed for it.
And we're getting killed for it. We're getting tormented.
We're getting
Revelation talks about you'll be tormented for 5 months. That's what I was bringing up. Meaning a short period of time. It's going to be short. It's not going to be something that's going to be extensive. It's going to be for a short period of time. You'll get tormented. You'll get scorned. You know what I mean? Some will get killed. You know what I mean? Some will get thrown in jail, which happens to UBK all the time. You go to jail for no reason. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. Give me, just to bounce off that, right? Give me Matthew 24, just to bounce off this right here.
Matthew 24.
And the reason why I'm bringing this out is because as you're maintaining your integrity and your honor and everything we talked about, having a good name is more precious, is better than a precious ointment.
Okay.
As you're doing that, you're being tormented. Because guess what? Your wife hates you for serving the Lord. Your kids hate you because you didn't bring them no gifts for Christmas, right? Yeah. So the torment is going on all throughout the year. Listen, I got a gift I got a Christmas gift. I went to work today, right? You know, I do real estate.
Yeah.
So I went to work. On my desk was a Christmas gift. Now, understand, they should know by now that I'm a Jew. We celebrate Hanukkah, right? So, out of respect, it's like giving a Muslim a Christmas gift, which they take all the time. You go to Afghanistan, and you go to Iraq, they got Santa Claus all in there. But here's what I'm saying is that they gave me a Christmas gift. Out of respect for me, you should be like, well, he doesn't celebrate Christmas. Why would we give him a Christmas gift? I had to take that gift, you know what I did with it?
Trash it.
I had to trash the gift. Because now if I had accepted...
It's like, sir.
Yeah.
Did you figure out what it was first?
Guess what they gave me?
What?
It was an ill incense burner. Like, I'm talking about, like, this looked like it came out of 800 BC. It was... Why would they give me that?
It would be something that you would like on a day that you should not accept it.
Exactly. You know what's funny? I got the picture here. I'm going to put it up on Facebook. They gave me that, right? Give me like 2 more minutes, man. They gave me that, right? I took the gift, and you know what I did? I had to trash it. Because now if I accepted the gift, what would I have been? I would have been a part.
Yeah.
I would have been worshiping their God. You know what I mean? Give me Matthew 24 real quick. when it talks about
Matthew 24 and what, sir?
when it talks about, you know what, we might have to end it, but I really want to pull this out in regards. I felt bad. I was talking to my mother, but I don't speak the language as I'm not as eloquent in the language, and but I explained it to this. Go to verse 20. Verse 36.
36.
Hold on, Salaki. Verse 42. Give me 2 minutes. 2 minutes, y'all.
42.
Salaki. Yeah, go ahead.
Watch Matthew chapter 24, verse 42. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come.
And this is what my mother needs to hear. You don't even know when he's coming. In my mother's mind, she's like, well, he hasn't come yet. You know what I mean? You don't even know when he's coming, right? This is what I told her. Go ahead.
Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord comes.
So you know when the Lord's gonna come? He's gonna catch you off guard. That's what I told her. He's gonna catch you slapping that pork in your mouth. He's gonna catch you setting up that Christmas tree in your house. He's gonna catch you with that blunt in your mouth. He's gonna catch you sleeping with that prostitute. Right? Go ahead.
But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up.
And that's what we're doing. We're suffering our house to be broken up with the Christmas trees and this, that, and the third. Now there comes a woman that doesn't want to listen to you, right? And here's the good news, is that you can go and get another woman that really wants to listen to you, right? She wants to follow you. She understands that the God that you serve is the God that's going to help my kids. It's the God that's going to give me salvation. But go ahead.
Salaki. Therefore, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. Who then is a faithful and a wise servant?
And that's what I was trying to tell her. I was trying to tell my mother. I said, the Lord is trying to see who's a faithful and wise servant. There's a servant that says, well, the Lord delayeth his coming. Keep reading.
Khan Adawan Khan, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household.
Go ahead.
To give them meat in due season.
Go ahead, keep reading.
Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing.
So the servant that's celebrating her Hanukkah and lighting up them candles and coming to class and doing the will of the Lord and working, when he comes back and he sees him being a good and faithful servant, he ain't gonna have no problems. But guess what? Keep reading.
Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing.
He finds him doing what he had to do, doing his duty, maintaining his integrity, not compromising. Go ahead.
Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over his goods.
And he's going to make him ruler over his goods, right? And there's a lot of good coming out of the Most High when Christ comes to establish his rulership on this planet. Go ahead. This is the last one.
And if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming.
Go ahead. And that's what I tell my mother.
And shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken.
Yep.
The Lord of the servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him.
And that's what I was trying to tell my mother. I said, the Lord is going to come when you're not even looking. When you think you can just live it up. When you think, he's not coming, so I can do what the hell I want. That's when he's going to catch you. He's going to catch you off guard. And thank the Lord for the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, because we require perfection in this house. We're going to end it right there. That's just a little something in regard, a little something personal, but in regards to Mom Dukes. But with that, we're going to end it there. Next Monday we got class. Yeah, we got class next Monday. We don't have class Tuesday and Wednesday this week because of the Devil's holiday. And with that, Shalom. Pay your